Kyle O'Quinn's 3 years with the New York Knicks have been the perfect example of what a role player should do on a team. He's been nothing but a professional and has spent most of the majority of his time providing energy, rebounding and passing off of the bench. He is also the perfect example of smart contracting by an NBA team. The Knicks have handed out some terrible contracts in the past, most recently to Joakim Noah, but the 4-year $16 million deal to O'Quinn was genius. But it is likely that O'Quinn will opt out and enter unrestricted free agency, and the market for him will be very interesting. New York will likely try and retain O'Quinn as he's become a leader for them and a great presence in the city. But the question will be, will they be willing to pay more, or will they try and keep him on a team-friendly deal? This video will cover O'Quinn's history as a player, his career in Orlando, how the Knicks saw his potential, and then the impact and effect he has had off the bench in New York, and what makes him the perfect bench big for the NBA. Kyle O'Quinn never grew up wanting to play basketball. Football was always the sport of choice for the gigantic 6'10" kid from Queens. In fact, he almost quit playing basketball entirely in his junior season, but continued on and would average 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists a game in his senior year playing basketball. Despite his size, strength, and skill in two sports, O'Quinn still only received one scholarship offer, to Norfolk State University, which he quickly accepted. Although even upon accepting it, Kyle still planned on pursuing a professional football career, even though he received this offer based on his basketball ability. But a spanner would be thrown in Kyle's journey when he didn't make the football team at college. He had to finally face reality. Basketball was for him. So he decided to stick out all full 4 years of college and attempt to make it to the NBA. In his first 2 college seasons, O'Quinn would start, however he would still have a minor role on the team and wouldn't make waves until his junior year. Here, he would average an astounding 16.4 points, 11.1 rebounds, and 3.4 blocks per game, as he exploded onto the scene and won his first Conference Defensive Player of the Year award. And he would have his greatest college moment ever when the Spartans upset the second-seeded Missouri Tigers in the round of 64. O'Quinn had 26 points and 14 rebounds in this game and was impossible to stop, leading his team to their deepest ever NCAA tournament run. After his 4 years of college, graduating with his degree, he would declare for the NBA draft and try to fulfill his dream of playing basketball in the best professional basketball league there is. The Orlando Magic would take him with the 49th pick in the draft and eventually sign him to a 3-year, $2.7 million deal. And this was a fantastic move from the Magic, taking an athletic big man who has only pursued basketball for 4 years compared to the 10 or so that most prospects have. Giving players like this 3-year guaranteed deals allows them the security to develop, and if they do, you get an absolute bargain bench piece for the duration of that contract. Players such as Draymond Green, Chandler Parsons, and Nikola Jokic are all fantastic examples of this, and NBA teams are realizing more and more the power and value of nailing a second-round pick. In his 3 seasons with the Magic, O'Quinn would establish himself as an energetic big man who could come off the bench and change the pace of the game. Many players can become lackadaisical when they come off the bench, as they believe they should be starting, but Kyle did the opposite. He would check into the game and immediately try and block shots, take charges, and clean up the defensive glass. He soon found himself playing backup center to Vucevic and getting 16 minutes a game as he averaged 6 points and 4.5 rebounds off the bench. When his 3 years with the team came up, many saw O'Quinn as a potential bench piece that could play well in the NBA for years to come. But the thing is, solid bench pieces aren't flashy, they don't make headlines, and they don't sell season tickets, and so they don't get chases often in free agency. But this allows smart teams to maximize their cap space by doing their research and identifying which bench pieces can contribute to a winning team. Signing bench players to huge deals limits the amount of value you can extract from your cap space and limits how close to contention you can get. Take a look at the Houston Rockets, for example. Chris Paul and James Harden are on max contracts. Trevor Ariza, Eric Gordon, PJ Tucker, and Mbara Moute are all on great value deals. And then Clint Capella is on his rookie deal still. This allows them to maximize value from nearly every single cent in that cap space. The only blunder they have made is giving $20 million a year to Ryan Anderson, who, whilst a very good player, is probably worth closer to 10 than 20 million, and this has prevented them from having the space to sign another star. But Daryl Morey has done a phenomenal job overall at acquiring players for contracts that are lower than their market value. When you compare this to, say, the Orlando Magic, who gave out huge deals to Bismack Biyombo, Jeff Green, and other average players, you can see the huge difference on the court. The Magic are paying their players too much and so get a lot less talent per dollar than a well-run organisation like the Houston Rockets. And whilst the Knicks are closer to the Magic than the Rockets when it comes to management overall, with big deals to Joakim Noah and giving a no-trade clause to Carmelo costing them, the signing of Kyle was perfect. They gave him a 4-year deal worth $4 million a year that included a player option. Usually teams try and steer clear of player options as they become a huge variable when it comes to team planning, but giving one to O'Quinn to convince him to sign for this cheap is amazing. Kyle O'Quinn is getting paid less than 4% of the total salary cap and is currently 49th in win shares per 48 minutes. Whilst this isn't a perfect stat, it does a great job of summarising the impact a player has every minute on the court. And Kyle has had a huge impact in his 17 minutes per game. And this is all coming from a guy who is the 222nd highest paid player in the league. So you can see he's playing way above his pay grade. And whilst a lot of players play more minutes and are thus more valuable, no matter which way you look at it, Kyle is far outperforming his contract. And he is doing so by continuing to improve as an NBA player with every single season he plays basketball. O'Quinn is still good at all the things he was when he came into the league: defense, defensive positioning, hustle and rebounding, but he's added so many other facets to his game. Kyle has gotten a lot better in the pick and roll. He now knows when to roll and when to fade to his free throw line jumper, and when he does catch the ball in the paint, he has been a lot better at finishing around the rim and has increased his field goal percentage every year as a result. But the biggest improvement has been his passing. O'Quinn's assist numbers have gone up every single year since he entered the league, and he now averages 2 assists per game in just 17 minutes. Incredible numbers for a big man off the bench. He does this by making the right play the majority of the time. When he gets the offensive rebound, if he has inside position, he'll go straight back up, but if he doesn't have inside position, he'll kick the ball out to shooters or cutters as the defenses collapse to grab the rebound. He's also gotten a lot better at passing out of the pick and roll and hitting shooters in the corners or on the wings, but perhaps where he's gotten the best at passing is out of the mid-post and elbow areas. The Knicks will frequently give O'Quinn the ball here and then have someone cut to the rim, allowing him to bounce it backdoor to the cutter. This simple action is really hard to defend when done correctly, and O'Quinn's passing skills have made it possible for the Knicks to run it. So, Kyle O'Quinn has become a fantastic bench piece for the Knicks in his 3 seasons there. He does everything well and nothing incredibly so, but that is fine for a bench player. Plus, over the long course of the NBA season, players will inevitably get injured, especially big men. And when they do, Kyle can come in and start and play over 30 minutes, and he won't be a liability on either end. Compare this to, say, Bismack Biyombo, who is a great bench player also, but becomes a big offensive liability if he has to play starters minutes. The only area I want Kyle O'Quinn to improve at is his 3-point shooting. If he could add a decent 3-point shot, he would become the perfect modern NBA bench big man and would be in high demand around the league. In his last season in Orlando, he attempted 1 3 a game and hit them at a rate of 29%, but that is the only season he really tried shooting them. I'd love to see him get back to the point where he could shoot 35% and really make an impact and stretch the floor. But Kyle's tenure with the Knicks might be coming to a close. He'll almost certainly opt out of his contract and try to get paid a larger salary per year and lock in another long-term contract. And whilst the Knicks will want to keep him, other poor contract choices have likely cost them the cap flexibility to match a big offer. And O'Quinn will be an unrestricted free agent this offseason, and a few teams will almost certainly be ringing his number. Kyle is the perfect player for teams to go after with their mid-level exception, which allows them to offer almost $8 million a year to a player, even if they have hit the salary cap. Contending teams like Boston, Houston, and OKC will take a good long look at O'Quinn. I especially like him for the Thunder, who have struggled to find anyone to back up Steven Adams since the departure of Enes Kanter. O'Quinn would have the same role here that he has in New York, but would be able to pass backdoor to Westbrook and potentially Paul George and Melo instead of weaker players. Most teams would love to have O'Quinn, and here is where the problem is. He is now a known entity, a known positive off the bench, and more teams will be willing to pay him bigger contracts, and as a result there could potentially be a bidding war, one that the Knicks won't want to get into. As O'Quinn for $4 million a year is definitely a steal. But is he a steal at $10 million? At $8 million? If I was the Knicks, I would love to sign O'Quinn for between $4 and $7 million, and I think he might even stay in New York on the small discount as he is both from Queens and has clearly grown to love the organisation. But perhaps the biggest lesson from this is how hard it is to build a championship caliber team. Not only do you have to get a star or two, but you also have to nail the rest of your roster. Find players that are undervalued and fit your system, nail late draft picks to get guys like Kyle Kuzma, and ensure you don't hand out bad contracts like Joakim Noah. The Knicks' salary books will clear up after Joakim's deal, and this is when they will likely truly enter the window for contention with Porzingis. They will need to try and find a few more guys like Kyle and sign them on team-friendly deals in this period, so that they can then load up on as many stars as possible and get to work trying to bring a championship back to New York. But for Kyle, who knows where he will end up this season. As I said above, he would be a great fit on OKC, and I'm sure Brad Stevens would love him in Boston. It will all come down to the right price, as teams try and get him as cheap as possible, and O'Quinn and his agent try and get as much money as possible. The delicate balancing of NBA contracting. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to like and subscribe for NBA videos every Thursday and Sunday. And let me know in the comments what you think of Kyle O'Quinn, where he should go this offseason, as well as any thoughts on trying to build championship teams through smart contracting.